welcome to another side quest episode of Talk This. It's dangerous to podcast alone. I'm your intro host, Madeline, and it's been a while since we've done one of these. We had that bonus episode with our sisters, our last side quest slot, which if you haven't checked it out yet, you should definitely give it a download because it's pretty funny. But just in case you forgot, we're back to traditional side quests this week, where Emma and I are each going to talk about one topic, 5 topics for 1 minute each. All right, let's jump right in.
So if you follow us on Instagram or Facebook, you might have seen that I just finished up a week working at the Mason Game and Technology Academy with Envision at George Mason. And I'm about to go back tomorrow for another 4 weeks. And you know, it's an awesome program. I'm mostly sort of like a counselor, RA type thing, but I mean, the kids, from what I can tell from just like going in and out of their classes, taking pictures, they are learning so much stuff that like middle schoolers and high schoolers are so lucky to know. I don't know. I just like, this is only a 2-year program, and like watching it, I'm like, I wish that I'd had this when I was younger. Although then again, I wasn't as into games in middle school, and even most of high school as I am now. So I guess I probably would have missed out on the opportunity anyway. But very excited to go back, even if it is kind of exhausting.
So if you've been following our Instagram over the past couple of weeks, you'll notice that I made the unfortunate but fun decision to download Civilization 5 and dive right back into playing. Now, Civilization 5, which is a game that I hope will eventually draw out of the hat, but spoiler, a little mini episode here, is a game that I loved to play as a kid, but now I'm like finding that maybe I'm not quite as good at it as I thought I was. I don't know, I'm still getting decent scores, and I finally beat a game on Prince, which reveals to you how bad I am, because yes, I beat a game on the normal difficulty level for the first time. I think I'm discovering that I really kind of like the conquest route best. There's something just more satisfying about conquering all the cities than like spreading all your tourism. I'm really trying to adjust to Civilization 5 because the problem with conquest for me now that I'm still sort of getting accustomed to is that you can't make a giant stack of Doom and attack cities anymore. You have to actually like lead an army realistically.
So when I picked up Persona 5 and Nier Automata, I sort of left behind a couple of other games that I had been playing, including Final Fantasy 15, where I had sort of gotten to the ending, but now I don't remember how to play any of it anymore, or really exactly what was happening or what was going on. Well, that might just be poor writing on its part. But there've been a lot of updates recently, both just like adding story details and that sort of stuff, and they're continuing to add updates. But the most recent one, on top of episode Prompto DLC, which actually looks really good and I might get, is your car can now go off-roading, which just sounds like such a better way to do the car and the driving. And it almost makes me tempted to just start the game over because they've added all these things since I last played it. So why not play, I guess, the quote-unquote more complete version of the game? So
I started playing Grim Fandango, I guess a week and a half ago or so, just to research it for our last episode. But I'm really discovering that it is kind of a fun game, and it's really satisfying when you get those puzzles actually right. But I've sort of hit kind of a mental roadblock right now, because, again, shout out to our Instagram where I talked about this a little. I hit a glitch in my game that's going to cause me to have to go back and replay a couple of puzzles. And I'm not quite understanding the cult status of Grim Fandango, because it feels like a game that has very little replay value, because it's so puzzle based, and once you figure out how to do the puzzles and you remember how to do the puzzles, it's not really fun to sort of just go by and be like, oh, get this, do that, paint by numbers. It's why I hate having to cheat so much in this game, because it's just not as satisfying to finish it. So if anyone wants to give me the kick in the butt to go back and like play that 10 minutes it's gonna take me to get back to where I was, like, please do. I kind of want to find out what happens.
I went to go see Spider-Man Homecoming earlier this morning. This is Saturday. And, you know, I really liked it. It was sort of fun to sort of see, high school Peter Parker and sort of focusing on that aspect of his life. But the fact that I liked the high school part of this movie so much sort of makes me wonder what I might get out of the Insomniac Spider-Man open world game, which honestly, like, the trailer they showed at E3 looked good, like, it looked awesome, but it also sort of looked like, like Uncharted, QuickTime event type style thing, and I don't know if that's how it is normally, or if that was just, they just wanted to show off, like, an action showpiece at the E3, and they've got Miles Morales in the game, which might make it a little bit different, but it's got a more experienced Peter, which seems a little weird. I don't know. I'll have to see as more details come out on the game. But I love the movie.
Whenever the game gives me an option to name myself or name a location or name some character in the game, does anyone else head into some sort of like mini kind of existential crisis? Maybe that's a little bit overkill to phrase it that way, but I always like have to go about it. I'm like, do I just want to play as Madeline? Like, should I be like M-Dog? Should I try to think of something cool? Like, should I name it after people I know? Like, should I name this city something funny? Should I name my dog after my real dogs? It really like sort of throws me into a tailspin of like, how do I want to play this game like right immediately? Like, I love laughing at things online with people that have funny names, but I almost never sort of cave to the funny name thing. I can't do enough in like 7 characters to make it really funny, and there aren't that many like good plays on my name that I like I don't want to go through the whole game as like M-Dog or Maddie or something like dumb like that, so I'm usually a boring namer. What about you guys?
Malin and I have both started playing Stardew Valley as part of our research for the next episode, and Malin really seems to like it. She's been playing a lot of it, or maybe she just takes her job seriously, who knows. But I've only played about 2 days of it because I don't know, it stresses me out so much. And I've read so many things that are like, oh, this game's so meditative, it's so relaxing, like it's like stress relief and whatever, but it's just like time just passes too fast. I guess I'm used to like the Persona style where you take an action and then time passes, but you have all the time in the world to think about that action. Stardew Valley, you sort of just have to go with your impulses. And I haven't even been able to find like all the townspeople to say hello yet. And it's just like so many things to do. I guess it's true to life in that way because you just sort of plop yourself down on a farm with no idea what to do in the game. So of course it would be like that for the player. But I don't know why this is so relaxing. Does it get more relaxing later? Do I just have to stick out the stressful parts? Let me know, people.
So recently, I've come to the conclusion that there were 2 major factors that, prior to the sort of initiating force of Talk This, prevented me from becoming really even a vaguely serious gamer or spending very much time on video games at all when I wasn't hanging out with Emma. So number 1 was a sense of self-preservation, because as you'll hear about either before this or after this in Talk This, in this podcast today, I'm not very good at turning off games, and so in order to get my work done, probably was good that I didn't play too many video games when I was in school. But the second one is money. We talked a little about the Steam summer sale, and the fact that all these video games were like under $10 made me much more willing to sort of take a chance on like, oh, like this might be fun, or oh, might be actually good if I knew what I was talking about for Talk This once in a while. And like having games that were that cheap really made it easier for me to make the investment. Like it's such a high bar to clear of like, yeah, like this game is worth $50.
During the several billion previews for Spider-Man Homecoming, including the Dunkirk one that I swear I've seen like 50 times now, it's always the same one too. But anyway, there's also a trailer for the Jumanji reboot, I guess, which looks fine. I don't know, it looks fun in a really kind of stupid way. But I was just like, it's such a weird concept, the get stuck in a game concept, that I feel like is really prevalent over media these days, or maybe just always. I remember I read a book when I was a kid called like Heir Apparent, where she got stuck in like a virtual reality game and only had like 3 chances to get it right. And it's also sort of like a prevalent theme after Sword Art Online in a lot of anime these days, but I feel like it's very hit or miss, this concept, because it can be like stupid escapism, but I guess you could also try to say something with it. But it's an interesting concept, and, the end.
I've been playing a lot more video games this summer and spending a lot more time playing video games, which is super nice. It's nice to be able to relax and just chill out and actually have time to do stuff for the podcast and research the games for the podcast. But it's made me realize that I have a problem. See, I'm addicted to playing just one more turn. You know, the classic one, which I've talked about a little, is Civilization, right? It's even written into the game now at the end. When you beat the game, they have that sort of just one more turn option. But it's come back to bite me when I'm researching for next week's full episode. When I'm playing Stardew Valley, man, these games that are kind of open-ended and don't involve any kind of, like, frustrating shooting, I can just keep playing. Like, I won't put them down. I'll be like, like, I'll hit some sort of milestone next turn. Like, I'll finish the war, or I'll build the chicken coop, or whatever. Wow, 2 different things there. And I'll just keep playing. It's bad, folks. It's really, really, really bad.
Hey guys, this is your other host, Emma. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our episode. We're back to a normal side quest this week after our super special sister episode, which if you haven't listened to yet, I highly recommend. Our little sisters are probably much more interesting than we are. I'm here with a weekly request that you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Talk This Podcast. And check out our website, talkthispodcast.com. We've got a ton of show notes up, some still incomplete, but some really good. I just did the Persona and Nier Automata ones, so you know their quality. And yeah, subscribe, leave us a review on iTunes. Even just a star rating helps so much. Yeah, check back next week for our new episode with Stardew Valley and the old game that we picked. I can't remember off the top of my head, oh no. But as always, have a great day.